Job hunting sucks. We all know it, we've all been through it, and it's high time we acknowledge that this whole process is a Herculean task that feels more like trying to scale Mount Everest barefoot with a boulder strapped to our backs. So let's get into it. First off, let's talk about the sheer absurdity of the modern job market. We're all expected to be these perfect little worker bees, right out of college or whatever vocational hell we've emerged from. Employers want us to be seasoned veterans with 10 years of experience, a fresh-faced enthusiasm that screams, "I love corporate slavery," and skills that only a superhuman could muster. They want us to be experts in everything from advanced Excel functions to underwater basket weaving, and all for an entry-level position that pays peanuts. And the job listings, oh man, don't even get me started. These listings are like a bad Tinder profile. They lure you in with promises of a dynamic work environment and opportunities for growth, but what they really mean is we'll work you to the bone, pay you next to nothing, and you'll probably still get laid off after 6 months because Jeff from accounting couldn't keep his hands out of the cookie jar. It's a bait and switch every single time. Then comes the resume black hole. We've all been there, meticulously crafting our resumes and cover letters, pouring our souls into these documents, only for them to disappear into the ether. You hit that submit button and it's like sending a message in a bottle out to sea. Will anyone read it? Will it make a difference? Who the hell knows? It's a mystery wrapped in an enigma, cloaked in despair. And don't even get me started on the apply now buttons that take you to a never-ending labyrinth of online application forms. Seriously, how many times do we have to fill out our employment history and education details? We've already attached our resume, for crying out loud. It's like some sick game designed to test our patience and sanity. Now, let's talk about the dreaded interview process. It's like a cross between a beauty pageant and a gladiatorial match. You dress up in your finest attire, sweating bullets under your carefully ironed shirt, only to sit in front of a panel of stone-faced judges who scrutinize your every word, every gesture, every bead of sweat. And the worst part, the waiting. The interminable waiting. You leave the interview, your brain replaying every single answer, every awkward pause, every forced smile. Days turn into weeks, and you're left in this limbo of uncertainty. Did they like you? Did they think you were a complete moron? Will you get a call back, or was that the end of the line? It's like dating, but worse, because your livelihood is on the line. Let's not forget the rejections. Those cold, impersonal emails that start with "thank you for your interest" and end with "we've decided to move forward with other candidates." It's like getting dumped by a robot. No closure, no feedback, just a swift kick to the ego and a one-way ticket to self-doubt city. And don't even get me started on the ghosting. You pour your heart and soul into the process, only to be met with radio silence. It's brutal, it's demoralizing, and it's way too common. But let's be real here. The most frustrating part is the fact that the whole system is rigged. It's a game of who you know, not what you know. Networking is king, and if you're not in the right circles, you're pretty much screwed. We're all just pawns in this giant chess game, hoping to get noticed by the right people at the right time for the right job. It's exhausting, it's disheartening, and it's enough to make anyone want to throw in the towel and move to a remote cabin in the woods. We can't forget about the constant pressure to stay relevant. Every day, there's a new skill to learn, a new certification to get, a new trend to follow. It's like running on a hamster wheel, trying to keep up with the ever-changing demands of the job market. And God forbid you take a break or step off the wheel for a second, because the moment you do, you're left behind. Outdated, obsolete. It's a vicious cycle that never seems to end. And those online job platforms, they're all the same. They promise to connect us with the perfect job opportunities, but in reality, they're just another black hole where our hopes and dreams go to die. You spend hours scrolling through endless listings, tweaking your profile, sending out connection requests, and what do you get in return? A bunch of spam messages from recruiters who ghost you the moment you express any real interest. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, only the needle doesn't exist and the haystack is on fire. We also have to deal with the constant bombardment of career advice from so-called experts. Everyone's got an opinion on how to land the perfect job, but none of it actually works. Tailor your resume for each application. Follow up with a thank you note. Be yourself, but not too much yourself. It's all just noise, and we're left sifting through it, trying to figure out what's real and what's just a load of crap. And let's not overlook the financial toll this takes on us. job hunting isn't just a time sink. It's a money pit. We're shelling out for new clothes, printing resumes, commuting to interviews, and sometimes even paying for online courses to boost our skills. All this while trying to stay afloat without a steady income. It's a cruel joke, really. Spend money to make money, they say. But what happens when you're all spent out and still jobless? It's a nightmare. And while we're on the subject of the financial toll, let's not forget the emotional and psychological impact job hunting has on us. It's a roller coaster of hope and despair, confidence and self-doubt. One moment, you're riding high on the wave of a promising lead, the next you're crashing down into the depths of rejection. It's a cycle that repeats over and over again, chipping away at our mental fortitude. The stress and anxiety that come with job hunting are no joke. Sleepless nights, constant worrying about the future, the nagging feeling of inadequacy, it's enough to make anyone crack. We try to stay positive, to keep our heads up, but it's tough when every day feels like a battle. And let's not even talk about the toll it takes on our personal lives. Relationships strain under the pressure, hobbies and passions take a back seat, and our overall well-being suffers. And there's this constant need to hustle. Even when we're not actively job hunting, we're supposed to be working on our personal brand, networking or upskilling. It's like we can never truly switch off. And social media doesn't help. Seeing posts about others landing their dream jobs while we're stuck in this endless loop of applications and rejections only adds salt to the wound. It's a constant reminder of our perceived failures, even though we're all just on different paths. And then there's the job descriptions themselves. They're often so vague or contradictory that it's impossible to know what the employer is really looking for. They ask for skills that are so specific, they might as well be asking for a unicorn that can code. And when we do get to the interview stage, we're often met with interviewers who are ill-prepared or uninterested, asking us questions that have little to do with the job itself. So, what's the solution? How do we navigate this hellscape and come out the other side with our sanity intact? Honestly, it feels like there's no easy answer. We just keep pushing forward, taking it one day at a time, one application at a time, one rejection at a time. We support each other, commiserate together, and celebrate the small victories, because sometimes that's all we can do. We remind ourselves that we're not alone in this struggle. We're all in the same boat, paddling like mad just to stay afloat. And maybe, just maybe, we'll find a way to tip the scales in our favor. Until then, we keep fighting the good fight, because what other choice do we have? We've got to believe that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, even if it feels like it's a million miles away. We've got to hold on to the hope that our efforts will pay off, that our skills and talents will be recognized, that we'll find that perfect job that makes all the struggle worthwhile. And in the meantime, we keep sharing our stories, our frustrations, our triumphs. We keep lifting each other up, because if there's one thing we've learned from this whole experience, it's that we're stronger together. So here's to us, the weary job hunters, the resilient warriors of the modern workforce. We may be battered and bruised, but we're not beaten.